Alright, what's up, everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we got episode 13 of season 2 of the Look In series, a series where I go through all 30 teams at the end of their seasons, recap the year, talk about the future, look at the state of the team, and stuff like that. Today's episode is on the Chicago Bulls. Got a lot to talk about with this team. So, yeah, thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you enjoy the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. If you missed any other looking episodes, there's a playlist on my channel. You can go back and watch. Link to my Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that in the description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So the Chicago Bulls this season, they finished the regular year 39-43, ninth in the East. They win the first playing game against the Hawks, and then get blown out by Miami last night in their other playing game, and they missed the playoffs again. And yeah, just looking at this franchise the last couple years, mediocrity at its best, really. Like the last couple years, like they won 62 games back in 2011, they won 50 games in 2012. 2013 they won 45 games, they went to the second round. 2014 they won 48 games. 2015 they won 50 games. Since then, since 2016, Chicago Bulls records have been 42-40, missed the playoffs. 41-41, lost in the first round. 27-55, 22-60, 22-43, 31-43, 46-36, lost in the first round. 40-42 last year, lost in the play-in. 39-43 this year, lost in the play-in. Just mediocre, not great, not horrible. Well, 22 wins is not good at all, but just being bad. You know what I mean? Just bad. They've traded coaches, new GM, new management. Arturas Karnisovas, and it just has not been good. They're holding on to this false belief, you know, that they saw 2-3 months with Lonzo Ball and then being a number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference and said, there it is, that's where we do it. And they're holding on to this fake belief that that is real and that that's possible. That was 2 years ago. Think so many things have changed, not only for your team but for the NBA since then, that you think it's not possible. You're not going to be a 1 seed or 2 seed in the East at this point, Chicago. Like I generally feel for Bulls fans right now, because it's just there's nothing really to hold on to. There's nothing really to be like, yep, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, it's just there. And the Bulls management can't see that. There's nothing here with this team. So please just get rid of it and let's start over again, which it sucks because we were just in a rebuild for 4 years and then we found a little bit of success for half a season, and now we're going to go back to a rebuild. I know that sounds bad and it sucks and it hurts, but at least there'll be a direction. At least there'll be some sort of plan put in place at that point. You know what I mean? So yeah, the Bulls really just need to get rid of all of this and blow it up. But will they actually do it? I don't have faith in them that they actually are going to do it. You know what I mean? And one big thing, I think the real kind of like, all right, it's over for Chicago moment was at this NBA trade deadline where they stood on their toes and didn't do anything. Alex Caruso, a guy that could have got you maybe a second round pick or two, that a lot of playoff teams have wanted, stays. Andre Drummond, another guy who could have got you a little bit of some picks, a pick or two, that a lot of people like playoff teams wanted, didn't do anything there. Zach LaVine, who already everyone kind of knows he doesn't want to be in Chicago anymore. Chicago doesn't really want him. Did get injured, didn't get traded. Took season-ending surgery because he didn't want to go to the Pistons. Really, DeMar DeRozan, last year of his contract, gonna sit free agency, still an all-star level player, didn't do anything. Just stood back, sat there, did nothing, and kept this mediocre team around to finish 4 games under 500 and to finish not making the playoffs as a 9 seed. You know, like at least if you're not going to make the playoffs, let's suck. At least let's be bad and let's get a top 5 pick. At least let's get that. You know, why are we waiting and winning 40, 41 games in a season for what? To either lose in the play-in or to make the playoffs and lose to a number 1 seed. Like, what are we really doing here? at this point. You know what I'm saying? And the Bulls still are high in attendance. They still sell out. They still, because they're the Chicago Bulls, and it just sucks that they're still getting this money. They're still getting this kind of revenue and traffic coming in because they're bad. Yet they're gonna think, well, people are still coming to the stands. People are still coming to watch the Bulls. People are still coming to support the Bulls. We still get a lot of fans. We still get all this, all this. So why change it? And it's like, no, we're only going to Chicago Bulls because it's Chicago Bulls. If you guys were the Minnesota Timberwolves, best believe no one will be coming to games. It's only because you're Chicago. You're one of the biggest markets in the world. That's why. Not because of your team, not because of what you're doing, because you are Chicago and not Minnesota or Sacramento. Shout out to Minnesota and Sacramento, no disrespect. But we're just being honest here. You know what I mean? So yeah. Looking at honestly, I think the Bulls are probably in the worst position for the future in the NBA right now. You know, you can argue the Brooklyn Nets. I talked about the Brooklyn Nets. That's a whole nother issue that they need that I talked about already. You can go back and check out that episode. Maybe the Wizards. You can talk about, maybe some playoff teams that haven't been eliminated yet. But just looking at the Bulls' future, it's like, what do we really have here? Like we don't have any. Like we have Zach LaVine that we can trade, but at this point right now, Zach LaVine isn't getting you like a boatload of picks and a boatload of young players, like a superstar level package, especially coming off another surgery and more injuries, and with his contract that he's getting paid 43, 45, and $48 million player option for the next 3 years. He's not getting you anything crazy. You can maybe do a sign and trade with DeMar DeRozan, but DeMar DeRozan is 35, 34, still playing amazing minutes, still playing leading the league in minutes, still playing a really good basketball. But he's just such a weird fit that's like not everybody's just gonna come out the woodworks and be like, we'll take DeMar DeRozan, and they don't have any young like other star or young players on the bench that they can trade that's gonna get them back at a boatload of anything really. You know what I mean? They don't. It's not like they have any young players being stashed like rookies and second year players that are gonna become superstars at one point. Like the only I think redeemable thing about the Bulls team this year was Kobe White. Kobe White averaging dang near 20 points per game. He averaged 19, 4 and 5 on 44, 37, 83 efficiency. Was a most improved player candidate. If not for Tyrese Maxey being an all-star, he would have been MIP by far. And he's still 24, which honestly is kind of crazy that he's still only 24 years old. And he's on a really good contract for the next couple years. That's really the only redeemable thing is that maybe Kobe White can be better than we expected. Ayo Dosunmu also had a really good season as well on a really good contract. He averaged 12, 2, and 3 on 50, 40, 81. And he's still 24 years old as well. So you got that going for you. Dalen Terry is in the rotation now. First round pick from last year. So there's potential there. Julian Phillips, their second round pick out of Tennessee. When he was playing, he played all right. That's really the only kind of redeemable thing to hold on to right now in Chicago in terms of the future. Because looking at everything else, it's like, what do we really have here for the next couple years? It's not great. It's not great at all. And Turner's crony service and the Bulls really need to open their eyes and see that. But do I believe in them and trust in them to do that? Absolutely not. So, yeah, let's get into their future first. Looking at their picks, they do have their own first round pick this year, which right now is projected at about 11. So depending on lottery and stuff like that. Looking at this draft where there's not many superstar kind of hit type players, there's still a lot of good role players. And for Chicago, looking at who they potentially could draft, honestly, I think it's up in the air for anybody. I don't think there's a position or specific thing they need. I just think they need talent, young talent. They don't have a lot of that. So looking at some guys, right now I'm looking at Tankathon, and it's projected Ron Holland from the G League, which I wouldn't be mad at. A young guy, 18 years old still, that potentially can do a lot of different things in the defensive end, bring energy, stuff like that. He could be kind of a project player for the future. I wouldn't mind that. I think maybe if they can draft a Cody Williams, I think it'd be nice. Someone that's already good, but also maybe has the potential for the future to be pretty solid. If they find a way to get Stephon Castle, if they move up in the lottery, then potentially. You know what I'm saying? Matas Buzelis from the G League, I wouldn't mind that either. I would like that as well. Jacoby Walter, I think from Baylor could be solid. Even if they could take a chance on like, I don't know. I think I'm probably a wing type player. I think would probably be better for them, for me. Especially we don't know what's gonna happen with DeMar DeRozan and Patrick Williams, and they already have Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu. So I think maybe a forward would be good. So yeah, I think I like a Cody Williams, one of the G League guys, Montas Rosas, Ron Holland, Stephon Castle, like Jacoby Walter, even just like a young guy with some upside is what they need. They just need a young guy with some upside, I think, and all those guys I think can fit that mold. Look at free agency. They're bottom five in terms of cap space. They have negative $76 million projected cap. DeMar DeRozan is an unrestricted free agent this offseason. DeMar, honestly, I think DeMar had a really good season. I think DeMar doesn't get talked about enough in terms of how good he was this year. He still averaged 24, 4, and 5 with a steal on 48, 33, 85 efficiency. Played 79 games, led the league in minutes per game at 34 years old, and still is in the running for Clutch Player of the Year. He's still really, really, really freaking good. It's a tough fit. Obviously, with his play style and his game, to just put him anywhere. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the Bulls this offseason. There's been talks about potentially extending him, which if they do that, which honestly, at this point, I can't really, you know, predict what the Bulls are going to do. I think DeMar DeRozan could be a Bull next season and for the next couple years on his contract. You know what I mean? I could see that happening. I could see them waiting for Lonzo Ball to come back, which I don't really know. Who knows at this point when Lonzo's coming back? Next year's he's gonna have a player option next season for 21 mil that he's probably gonna take. And he's eligible for extension. So, who knows? Who really knows? But DeMar DeRozan, an unrestricted free agent, he's gonna be one of the better players on the market. So it's gonna be interesting to see what teams really throw money at him. Patrick Williams is a restricted free agent as well. Who knows? Again, who knows? He was playing solid this year, and then he got hurt. He only played in 43 games. He averaged 10 points, 4 rebounds, 40% from three. Did get injured again, so they got that. Andre Drummond, unrestricted free agent. He's probably gone to a playoff team. Javonte Green, who came back in the league and actually had really good last 9 games. He averaged 12 and 7 with a steal on 60% shooting and 37% from three. So maybe he found a way back into the league, So they're going to have some free agents that could be gone. They could have lost those guys for nothing when at the trade deadline they could have traded them for some picks. But it's the Chicago Bulls. You know what I mean? And so yeah, again, if I'm the Bulls GM, and I think everybody in the NBA world knows that if you're the Bulls GM, trade some of these guys and let's rebuild. But we can't really trust the Bulls in doing that and making good decisions like that. And honestly, I'm kind of starting to accept the fact that I think we're gonna see the same Bulls team back next year. I think we're gonna see next year to start the year, it's gonna be DeMar, Vooch, Zach LaVine, and whatever else, Kobe White and whoever else is around them. I'm honestly kind of accepting that fact right now that that's what we're gonna see, and that sucks. That sucks. That sucks. That should not happen. But the way this front office and stuff has handled things right now, I think that's probably what's gonna happen. I don't want it to happen, and if it doesn't happen, then I'll be so happy if I'm wrong. I'll be so happy if I'm wrong, and this is not the same team we see coming back next year. I'll be so happy. I think Bulls fans will probably throw a parade in Chicago, but I just can't really trust in that organization enough to say that I think they're gonna make the right decision. I can't. So, Bulls fans, yeah, I'm sorry you have to deal with this. I just hope and pray that it gets better at some point over there. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. If you missed any other looking episodes, there's a playlist coming up right here. You can go back and check those one out. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.